I've never been the paranoid type. I'm not into ghost stories or conspiracy theories. I'm just a regular guy who likes to enjoy a quiet night every now and then. But there's one night I can't forget. One night that still creeps into my thoughts when I'm driving alone. It didn't involve anything supernatural. No shadow people, no haunted houses, just another person, a stranger, who reminded me that real horror doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It just needs to feel possible. It was a Friday night. I just wrapped up another long work week at the company I got hired at right after college. I was 24 then, fresh into adult life. Living alone in a quiet one-bedroom apartment, decent pay, a reliable used car, and finally some peace of mind. I wasn't rich or anything, but I was comfortable. And I didn't take it for granted. I remember it clearly. Midnight was creeping in. I couldn't sleep. Maybe too much caffeine from the energy drinks earlier, or maybe my brain just didn't want to shut off after a long day behind a computer screen. The night was quiet and I didn't feel tired at all. So I figured, why not? Take a little drive. Nothing crazy, just cruise around with some soft music playing, windows cracked a little, enjoying that eerie peace the world gets after midnight. I left my apartment around 12:30 a.m. Streets were empty. Most lights were off in the apartment complex. Just a few porch lights and that old flickering street lamp that never got fixed. I got in my car, started it up, and let the engine hum while I connected my phone to the Bluetooth. Played a lo-fi playlist. Just chill background stuff. No lyrics. Just beats, quiet hums, wind outside the car window. I drove around the outer parts of the city. Places that still had some streetlights but weren't crowded. Industrial areas, back roads, near old warehouses. I wasn't looking for anything, just moving, breathing, enjoying the space. I remember thinking how peaceful it all felt, like I had the whole city to myself. For a while, it was perfect. I even stopped at a little overlook spot and just sat there for 10 to 15 minutes, staring at the city lights in the distance. At around 2:30 a.m., I figured I'd grab something to eat and refuel before heading back. There was a 24-hour gas station about 10 minutes from where I was. I pulled in, parked at a pump, and started fueling up. While the fuel was pumping, I noticed another vehicle pull into the station. It was across from me, parked at the opposite pump, but it didn't do anything. No one got out. No fuel cap opened. It was this older, dark SUV, like a beat-up Explorer or something similar. Tinted windows, front bumper looked scraped up. I didn't think much of it. Some people park to take phone calls, check directions, I don't know. But something about it made me glance at it a few times. I don't think the headlights were on, but the engine was running. After fueling up, I went inside the shop. The usual bright fluorescent lights humming slightly. I noticed the only other person inside was the night shift clerk. No sign of the SUV's driver. That detail felt weird to me. Why park there and not come in? Not even step out for gas? I bought a snack and a cold drink. Maybe I was just tired and overthinking. I made a mental note to ignore it and just head home. I got in my car, turned the music back on, and pulled out of the gas station. A few seconds later, so did the SUV. It merged behind me. Same direction. Again, maybe coincidence. But then it stayed behind me through the first two turns. I started to get a weird feeling. You know that heavy pit in the stomach type feeling? Like something was wrong, but you didn't want to accept it yet? So I tested it. I took a random left down a street that didn't lead anywhere useful, mostly storage lots and fencing. The SUV followed. Still behind me. I took a right. It took a right. And this wasn't tailgating. It was weirder than that. They'd speed up real close, just for a few seconds, then back off. Then slowly drift forward again, headlights looming in my rear view like silent eyes. Then again, they'd pull back, like they were playing, like they wanted me to notice. That's when I knew this wasn't a coincidence. This person was following me. I didn't want to panic, but I also wasn't about to go home and lead this freak to my front door. I kept driving, made random loops, took unexpected turns. I even drove through a grocery store parking lot just to throw them off. But the SUV stayed behind me, sometimes dropping out of view for a block or two, then suddenly appearing again in my rear view. I started sweating. My hands were cold and shaking on the wheel. I thought about calling someone, but it was almost 3 in the morning. Who would even pick up? Then I remembered. There was a small police station about 10 minutes out. I didn't even think twice. I headed straight there. And that's when the SUV must have realized where I was going, because the moment I passed that green overhead sign pointing to the station, it floored it. The SUV blasted past me, tires screeching, no signals, just sudden acceleration and gone. It sped into the next street and vanished into the dark. I pulled into the police lot and just sat there for a minute. My heart was pounding in my ears. I felt like I was going to throw up. Eventually, I went in and reported it. Gave a vague description. Dark SUV, no plate number I could catch, older model, blacked out windows, scratches on the bumper. The officer nodded, took my statement, said they'd keep an eye out, but didn't seem too surprised. They said sometimes people try to scare night drivers. Sometimes they're drunk. Sometimes they're looking for someone to rob. Sometimes it's worse. But unless something actually happened, unless I was harmed, they couldn't do much. I got home just before 4 a.m. and sat in my car in the parking lot for 10 minutes. Just breathing, making sure I wasn't followed. That was years ago. I've moved since then. Different apartment, new job, new car. But I still think about that night. I still don't know who was in that SUV or what they wanted. Maybe they were just trying to scare me. Or maybe I got lucky. Maybe they changed their mind when they saw I wasn't heading home. Or maybe when they saw the police station sign. I never saw that vehicle again. Never had another encounter like it. But that night sits with me. And now, every time I go for a late drive, every time I stop at a gas station when the world is asleep, I always check my mirrors a little more closely, just in case.